My fellow Americans, words have many meanings, and sometimes instead of conveying our meaning, they can suggest other meanings.
When we talk about the children of the community, they are children of the community.
Well, we are the United States of America because we are united. And we are states.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time.
Whatever we have in store cannot be known. The past was once the future. The future is, I should say, unknown.
We got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
Obesity is a serious disease, and it needs to be taken seriously.
You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
I hope that clarifies the issue, and this can be the last word on those words.
Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right, and that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
I wish that was funny because it's actually funny and not because it's completely and totally spot on. I mean, we are living in an absolute freaking clown world, man. Here's where we're at. This worthless, virtue-signaling politician could literally become president at any moment. And how freaking scary is that? And on top of that, that might actually be an upgrade, man. This is what we have to look forward to. If we allow Democrats to trick enough mushy-brained people, this is what's going to happen. We will have a Kamala Harris presidency. And let me know in the comments if this I'm about to show you actually gives you any kind of confidence.
We have been clear in multiple conversations and in every way that any major military operation in Rafa would be a huge mistake. Let me tell you something. I have studied the maps. There's nowhere for those folks to go. And we're looking at about 1.5 million people in Rafa who are there because they were told to go there, most of them. And so we've been very clear that it would be a mistake to move into Rafa with any type of military operation.
A mistake, but would there be consequences if he does move forward?
Well, we're going to take it one step at a time, but we've been very clear in terms of our perspective on whether or not that should happen.
Are you ruling out that there would be consequences from the United States?
I am ruling out nothing.
So what she's talking about here is basically her and Joe's kind of red line moment. This is their red line. And the world is hell-bent on keeping Israel out of Rafah because it sounds like the town of Rafah is essentially the last pocket and the last hotspot of Hamas. And for whatever reason, they must survive. The world's not going to come out and tell you that that's the goal, but that appears to be the goal. And here's the interesting thing. The vice president, she says that people are stuck there. And they've got the Israeli army on one side and they've got Egypt on the other. But most reasonable people would ask, why don't they just flee to Egypt? Well, that's because this is their view when they look towards Egypt. And now Kamala Harris says that the people are trapped there, but it wasn't too terribly long ago that you couldn't have a conversation with a Democrat without hearing how walls don't work. And that's not what this video is about. I just think it's interesting. I think it's important to know. You know, AOC famously, not exactly the picture of intelligence, but she always wants to talk about the data of border and the data of the walls. Hopefully she's smart enough to soak up the data available here. I would guess that she's at least smart enough to not clap along and dance to a song that people are singing that's trashing her right to her face, which of course, this is what happened with the woman who's next in line for the throne of the free world, Kamala Harris. That's what she just did in Puerto Rico. And it's pretty damn funny stuff when you watch it. Can't really hold it against her too bad because it is in Spanish. She doesn't speak Spanish. But you would think the fact that she was at a protest of herself, I mean, people were only there to protest her, you'd think that those are not really the people that you join in and sing with. But I don't know. Maybe that's just what unity in the kumbaya fantasy land of diversity hired Democrats really looks like. Just stick with me, man. I'm showing this for a reason. This is the best part coming up. She's having a pretty good time. And then her aide tells her, hey, they're talking some pretty serious shit about you. This song is actually about you basically being some kind of war criminal. And Kamala looks pretty shocked. She can't believe it. The look on her face you're about to see is pretty freaking priceless. But the best part is that after that, her aides just go right back to dancing and just jamming out, having a good time. It's pretty awesome stuff. Does anything better illustrate the Kamala Harris vice presidency than that? Dancing to a protest song about her, especially on a topic like Gaza, a topic she has proven she doesn't have a grasp on, doesn't understand it, has even less control over it. And it's almost amazing to think, man, just think about this. We got record homelessness per capita in the US. We've got record mortgage prices, record inflation not long ago, record illegal immigration, negative record after negative record after negative record. And the thing that is probably going to cost the Democrats their base and cost them the election is their support of the Jews, their support for the only liberal democracy in the entire Mideast, their support of a country that was the victim of the most gruesome terrorist attack the world has probably ever seen. And that is what is turning up the heat on them, man. I don't know what that could possibly say about the Democrat base other than they are completely and totally radicalized, man. These are people that really cannot be trusted with adult decisions.
You gave a very forceful speech on the House floor Friday about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. You called on President Biden to cut off U.S. military aid to Israel. I think we have a clip of part of what you said. Let's roll that.
If you want to know what an unfolding genocide looks like, open your eyes. It looks like the forced famine of 1.1 million innocents. We must write our story in this moment of what it means and who we are as Americans. And our story must be not that we were good men who did nothing.
Now, clearly not enough aid is getting in. Clearly the conditions for the Palestinian people are horrific and much more needs to be done. Genocide is a word that has serious and specific connotations and allegations. It's defined by the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. So you, just to clarify here, you believe the Israeli military, the Israeli government are actively trying, they intend to destroy the Palestinian people, and not that what's happening is horrible, but it's happening because Israel is going after the terrorists of Hamas who attacked them on October 7th, and Hamas embeds within the civilian population?
Well, Jake, you're absolutely right. This word is extremely serious. It's one that's taken with extraordinary gravity. And to me, the threshold of intent is a high one. It is a serious one and is not one that is made lightly. However, when we look at the precipice of what is happening with a forced famine of 1.1 million Gazans, where multiple governments, NGOs, and even officials within the United States State Department have stated themselves plainly that the Israeli government and leaders in the Israeli government are intentionally denying, blocking, and slow walking this aid and are precipitating a mass famine. I believe we have crossed the threshold of intent. It is horrific. I think it is extremely clear and it is extremely important that all people understand the difference between people and their governments, Israelis and the Israeli government, Palestinians from Hamas. But what we are seeing here, I think, with a forced famine is beyond our ability to deny or explain away. There is no targeting of Hamas in precipitating a mass famine of 1 million people, half of whom are children.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously she can't take it back now, right? But there is zero chance that she believes that this is a genocide. She's just running scared, man. She's afraid of her own far-left, wacky, virtue signaling base. And she sees, in real time, she sees them turning on the guy that they now call Genocide Joe, the guy who was their hero, the only man who could stop Donald Trump or whatever. Now they're chasing her out of movie theaters. They're just begging her to say the words genocide. And now she's done it, man. And she looks like a complete and total idiot, unfortunately. But it's not a funny thing, man. I mean, radicalized pro-Hamas Democrat voters silenced sitting Congress people and vice presidents. They shouted them into submission. And this is where we're at, man. Ruled by the craziest and loudest. And here's what remains to be seen. Will these loud and crazy radicalized Democrats actually stay home in November? Or are they just going to plug their nose and just vote blue no matter who? It's hard to tell. You never know what a crazy person's going to do, obviously, but that's just my take, guys. Let me know yours in the comments. And if you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.